Many models and styles available on their updated website by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Welcome to the WTIM Morning Show, heard on the Big 870 across Central Illinois and streamed live on the TaylorvilleDailyNews.com Facebook page. Your guest this morning, Jim Bohannon of the Jim Bohannon Show. Welcome back, Jimbo.
Hey, Leroy, good to be back.
Oh, it's good to have you here. So, now, Jimbo, I understand the Democrats in the House have passed the social spending package, the Build Back Better agenda, as they're calling it. Your take on that?
Well, first of all, it's not going to survive the Senate, I don't believe. Something will pass probably, but it'll be considerably smaller than what it is now. So, first of all, it was every liberal wish list that could come down the pike, and that as it currently stands in the House version, I don't think will come anywhere near being law. But something will pass. They don't seem to embrace the notion of half a loaf is better than none, but I think half a loaf is what they're going to get, maybe less.
And from what I'm hearing, it includes things like universal pre-K to child tax credits, to paid family leave, and then it involves a lot of things like some of the infrastructure things that they weren't able to include with the $1.2 trillion package. What is your understanding of it?
Infrastructure package, yeah, I think you're correct in that regard. But again, it includes a lot of things that I think that might be nice, but can we afford them? And we can't just forever keep dumping things on the national debt, which is approaching $29 trillion now. It'll hit 30 but in no time. Do I hear 35, 40, 45, 50? What is the point at which we turn this country into a giant version of Greece or Spain or Italy? I don't want to do that to our economy. It's not easy to tear this economy down, but we've been trying to do so for so very, very long that if we work hard enough at it long enough, we can, in fact, tear this economy down. And again, if you want all this stuff, if it's that important, then pay for it. Don't stick it on the national debt. Pay for it. Let's see if the voters are willing to actually watch their taxes go up. All of a sudden, these questions of what is or is not, quote, free become rather personal. And that's something else again. There is no free community college, okay? That does not exist. There is community college paid for by other people, like taxpayers, but there's no free. Free community college would be a community college that is administrated by administrators who don't get paid and cleaned up by janitors who don't get paid and taught by people who are professors, but they don't get paid. It was built by a contractor who didn't make any money, by workers who were not paid for their work with donated materials. That's free community college. This is no such thing. It's just a case of somebody else paying for it. And regrettably, we live in a country where, for a lot of people, that's the only reason they vote. Who's going to give me the most free stuff? We are inundated with parasites in this country, and that's just a fact of life.
And, with the... I wasn't actually aware that there was a free community college in that bill, but then again, it's a bill. I haven't had the time to read it.
Well, it was originally. I'm not sure. A few things were taken out.
Right.
I'm not sure if that's still in there, but it was originally.
Right. And, there's things like, rather than, free community college, things that are help educating younger children too. That's the proposal anyway. Universal pre-K and things like that too.
But of course, as taught by the people who are trying to teach them their way and not their parents' way. Again, the number one thing you should remember about anything having to do with government funding of education is what should be the battle cry of every Republican, and for that matter, every person who believes in the value of the family. The words of Terry McAuliffe, the Democratic nominee for governor of Virginia this past election. I don't think parents should be telling school boards how to teach our kids. That says it all. That tells you everything you need to know. They're not your kids, even though you gave birth to them. Well, they're our kids. They belong to society. We're going to make them into good little socialists. And that's exactly the attitude. And if you really want that, well, you can certainly vote for it. I don't.
On that topic, you hinted at it a little bit. The FBI, or rather the Justice Department, or somebody has been directed rather to look at whether or not there's a domestic terrorism threat at school boards, right? There's all these threats on school board members and stuff like that. Now, are they is the FBI really protecting the school boards, or is it doing something else?
Well, certainly, again, you have yet to show me any serious threat to school boards across the country. You are talking about parents who are irate. Well, they should be irate, like the one guy who got kicked out of the Loudoun County, Virginia school board meeting. What was he irate about? He was irate about a guy dressed up as a girl who raped his daughter, and the school system was essentially sweeping it under the rug. Well, I'd be irate too. Any decent parent would be irate, and that's the whole problem. Is that the parents and in fact voters in general just won't get out of the way and let our intellectual and moral superiors run our lives. That's the view of the left. And you're right. We are not going to let you run our lives or our kids' lives or anybody else. And this notion that school boards are under this great threat is an utter crock. And I must say, the Attorney General of the United States, and there's one thing to be thankful for, and that is that Merrick Garland did not get onto the Supreme Court as President Obama wanted him to be. He's a political hack of the lowest order, and he set up a situation in which the FBI could essentially act as the Gestapo to keep parents from making it known how they feel about what their school boards are doing. Garland should go, but then again, so should the president and anybody else who believes this nonsense that the kids belong to the government and not to their parents.
I believe too a lot of the things that the people that, it's a nationwide thing, right? It's not just any one area that parents are becoming a little bit more irate at school boards for. There's a lot of different things in a lot of different areas. I think too the biggest thing is just kind of returning civility back into discussion of how do we teach our children, rather than this kind of mob mentality that you see a lot of the time, or you have been seeing more commonly with not just school boards but with a lot of different things.
Well, I mean, I grant you that in general, the gross national discourse has become uncivil. But when you're talking about some of the stuff that's being jammed into the ears of our kids, I'm not sure that lends to a civil discussion. When you have people who are radically trying to tear apart society, and civil discussion does not get their attention. Kicking them out of power gets their attention. Removing these people, that should get their attention. And I hope that every parent in this country takes a good, long, hard look at a school board that they have probably not paid much attention to. We have turned over now for 2 generations the conduct of how we educate our kids to the school boards, because after all, hey, they're just our neighbors, and how bad could it be? They know what they're doing. Well, as it turns out, they do know what they're doing, and what they're doing is wrong. And again, I would like a civil discussion too, but when you talk about some of the radical things that are taking place, I'm not sure that civil discussion gets their attention. When they start responding, then maybe we can go back to a civil discussion. Until that time, they better shut up and listen for a change and stop trying to enact this notion that they know better than the parents of the kids that they have in their control.
And some of those things too that are on that topic of things that parents are upset about, they're anything from vaccines, mask mandates, and stuff of the sort, to the actual content being taught in schools.
Well, that's true. I must confess that this whole thing about not getting vaccinated, I do not understand. I'm fully vaccinated. Everybody ought to be fully vaccinated, and this notion that you're impinging on my freedom if you require vaccinations. Are we going to go back to the days of diphtheria, smallpox, mumps, and measles, chickenpox, and the like? I mean, as the left is busily trying to turn this country into a third world country politically, there are those on the right, not everybody, but there are some on the right who are trying to turn us into a third world country medically. And I don't understand that. But when you talk about, for example, teaching critical race theory, which absolutely has been taught and is being taught, that white kids are inherently from birth because of their skin oppressors, and black kids are inherently from birth because of their skin the oppressed. I mean, that's enough racism to make a Klansman blush, for Pete's sake. And this is being pushed in this country. And that is certainly something that has no place in American education or any other school system anywhere in the world that pretends to be halfway civilized.
Talking with Jim Bohannon of the Jim Bohannon Show here on WTIM, your information station. Back with Jimbo in just a moment here on WTIM.
Win up to $500 just by decorating your Taylorville home or business for the holidays. Hi, I'm Brian Keel.
And I'm Jennifer Franklin with the Kathy Gar sales team at the Real Estate Group. We're excited to announce our second annual Taylorville Merry and Bright Holiday Decorating Contest.
Judging will take place on the evening of Wednesday, December 15th. And don't worry, we're only looking at the exterior.
Get all the details and sign up for free at kathygars.com/holiday.
Good luck and Merry Christmas from all of us at the Kathy Gars team.
This holiday season, check off your shopping list with Cardinals 5 and 10 game ticket packs. These multi-game packs are the best way to secure your seats to all 2022's high-demand games, including Opening Day, Yankees and Cubs weekends, the Yachty and Waino tributes, and more. Give the gift of baseball to all the fans on your list. Ticket packs start at just $59 and are on sale now. Get yours at cardinals.com/holiday.
Merry Christmas from all of us at McClure Funeral Home and Cremation Services in Taylorville. This is Scott McClure, happy to be a sponsor of Nonstop Christmas Music on Cruisin' 98.3 and the exclusive sponsor of the TaylorvilleDailyNews.com Christmas Music Channel as our way of wishing your family the most blessed holiday season and a great 2022. From now through December 26, tune in to Cruisin' 98.3 or go to TaylorvilleDailyNews.com and simply click the play button on the Christmas Music Channel icon to hear all of your holiday favorites 24/7.
This is Mike Adams, host of Adams on Agriculture. Glad to be back on News Talk WTIM, sharing my daily interviews with national and regional ag leaders. It's an hour of no-nonsense ag reporting where we take the time to discuss what's happening in agriculture right now and how it affects you, the Central Illinois farmer. It's part of over 8 hours a day of ag programming on News Talk WTIM's many platforms. Tune in weekday afternoons at 1:06 and join me, Mike Adams, for Adams on Agriculture on News Talk WTIM.
Thank you for listening to this Miller Media Group radio station. We appreciate you making the choice to tune in to us. We want to remind you of some things to keep the attorneys happy. Our stations allow one winner per household in a 30-day period. Cash prizes are mailed to our winners within 30 days of winning. And as you've probably already guessed, portions of today's programming on this Miller Media Group radio station were pre-recorded and are mechanically or digitally reproduced. There. Now we've made the attorneys happy. Thanks again for listening to this Miller Media Group station.
Hi, this is Becky Adams with 6th Street Market in Morrisonville. To see our weekly specials, click on our ad on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Hi, this is Will Perkins with Taylorville Community Credit Union. Find out about all the products and services we provide by clicking our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Welcome back to the WTIM Morning Show, heard live on 96.1 FM in Christian County and streamed live on the WTIM TV YouTube. Your guest this morning, Jim Bohannon of the Jim Bohannon Show. And Jimbo, inflation, more inflation. And this comes, well, President Biden has renominated Jerome Powell of the Federal Reserve to serve as the Federal Reserve Chairman for another term. And President Biden claims that the goal for Jerome Powell will be to focus on inflation. Your thoughts on everything involving the economy right now, and also the Jerome Powell the renomination for the current Fed chairman.
All you have to do is to go shopping to see what prices are, and it's remarkable. It's part of the inflation impetus is provided by a lack of supply. If in fact I'm going to go out to buy a left-handed widget and there aren't any, then I reach the point where I'll pay double price if I really need one. At the Fed, they seem to have the idea that the pandemic price surge is just a temporary thing and that labor markets are not tight. They are very tight. As regards Jerome Powell, he's been kind of a bipartisan part of the federal establishment. He was first appointed Undersecretary of the Treasury under Republican George H.W. Bush. He was nominated by President Obama to the Federal Reserve Board of Governors in 2011, and he became the chairman in 2018. His term as chairman ends in 2022, and his term on the board itself goes to 2028. So he's been around for a while. I don't think he fully understands, in my view, and the view of more than a few economists, people whose opinions count more than mine, that he either does not fully understand the inflation that exists out there, or he's trying to sweep it under the rug. But I don't think that he's responding adequately right now to the situation with inflation. It's not just something temporary, and in fact, the upward push on prices could continue for quite a while.
I think the theory is that it starts to even out around spring of 2022. Now, what backs that theory, I'm not sure, but that's some of the rumblings that by spring this is all going to be better and the supply chain issues are going to be fixed and the inflation is just going to kind of correct itself.
Well, the supply chain issues, a lot of them have to do with the state of California, where an awful lot of goods enter this country. It has to do, quite frankly, with unions who have imposed antiquated work rules when many of the other ports in the world in major countries are more fully automated. A lack of any sense of reality of the fact that we're well into the 21st century right now. I don't know that there's any magic wand that means just about the time that Americans start voting in primaries that suddenly the economy is going to go President Biden's way. I haven't seen any reason why that is the case. I know the economy is cyclical, but I'm not sure that the spring brings any magic time period with it.
You know, Jimbo, you have a long list of topics that you talk about on your show. What's on the forefront of your mind in the next couple of weeks?
Well, certainly we'll continue to watch what happens with this big spending package, what happens in the Senate now that it has barely passed the House. And as I said earlier, I believe that it'll be trimmed back considerably. I expect not just the Kirsten Sinemas of Arizona and Joe Manchins of West Virginia, two Democratic senators who don't buy into, when in doubt, spend more money on every single issue. I don't think that you're going to necessarily see everything in that big package get through, but something will get through. I can see that happening. And frankly, I don't see Democrats doing anything other than doubling down on some of the attitudes that got them thoroughly spanked by the voters earlier this month. Unless they recognize the error of their ways and stop believing that AOC and other members of the squad, the Bernie Sanders of the world, the youth core members of Sanders Incorporated, that they have some kind of magic appeal to voters. They don't. They can't get elected anywhere except in districts that are extremely liberal to begin with. And the Democrats are making a mistake if they think that following that viewpoint is going to keep them in power. No, they're going to lose the House for sure in 2022. And now, thanks to them, probably the Senate as well. And that's the end of the Biden domestic agenda right there.
When can people see your show? When and where?
Well, certainly weeknights, 9 p.m. till midnight, right here on News Talk WTIM. And we urge people to tune in, to call in, and we talk about the issues of the day.
All right. Thank you, Jimbo. I'll let you go. Thanks for coming on the WTIM morning show, and have a great week or two. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Hey, you too. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Yeah. All right. You take care.
You too.
All right. You're here on the WTIM morning show, live on the Big 870 across central Illinois and 96.1 FM in Christian County and 107.5 FM in Shelby County. More of the WTIM morning show after this here on WTIM, your information station.